Hi, welcome to my channel. My name's Holly and this video is going to be all about planning our first Disney World holiday. So in a couple of months, me and my family, my husband and my two children who are 5 and 2, are going on our first Disney World holiday to Florida, which we're super excited about. So what I've really enjoyed so far is the whole planning process, researching, booking, buying things. So I thought I'd make this video just to pass on just a little bit of knowledge that I've learned along the way. So I'll be talking about when's the best time of year to go, accommodation options, flight options, things to do. Okay, so let's get into the video. So in terms of the best time to go to Florida, obviously it gets super hot in the summer. I think in years gone by there used to be a quiet time in Disney. I don't think there is anymore. It's just expect it to be super busy whichever time of year you go. In terms of weather, probably the best times to go are early spring, autumn, so maybe March, April, October time. We're actually going in August. So ideally we'd probably go in October because it's that little bit cooler, but my eldest son, who's now 5, is in school and he only gets 1 week holiday for October half term. And I'll come on to flights a little bit later, but we found a really good deal on flights. So we're going towards the end of August, the first week of September. So the weather will be something we need to think about. We've got lots of plans to have fans on us, to have cooling towels, and we're just fully prepared for the hot weather. Something you might also need to think about when you're thinking about which time of year to go is school holidays. So if you don't have kids in school, then obviously you're free to go whatever time of year you like. America does have slightly different school holidays to here in the UK. So I think their schools go back in August, mid-August, mid to late August. So hopefully it might be that little bit quieter when we're going. Christmas is really busy, Easter's really busy, America has a few other holidays. So just take those into account when thinking about when you would like to go. Okay, so in terms of flights, we booked our flights coming up to a year ago. And as I said, we wanted to go around about October time, but my husband actually found some super cheap flights. Well, when I say cheap, they're not cheap, but in comparison to what flights were at the time. So we originally booked to go with an airline called Lufthansa. And we were flying from Manchester, which is near where we live, to Frankfurt, and then have a small stopover at Frankfurt and flying on to Orlando. So obviously that's not ideal because we're going east and then going west again. So it's a really long flight. When we first booked the flight, the stopover wasn't too bad. It was about an hour, 2 hours. So we thought that was quite manageable. Over time there was a few flight changes and it ended up being on the way back that we'd have a 5-hour stopover in Frankfurt, which is far from ideal when you've got a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old that have just come off a 10-hour flight. So from Manchester the flight time is 8.5–9 hours. So thankfully we've managed to change our flights now and they're going from Manchester straight to Orlando. So I think a really good idea would be to set up flight alerts, notifications on sites like Skyscanner. So if you've got a particular time of year or even a particular day that you want to go and you've got a price in mind, then you can set alerts and you'll get a notification straight away when a flight on that day or in that time period has dropped down to the price that you're willing to buy it for. Another thing to think about when you're looking at flights is also the cost of baggage and if you want specific seats. So obviously a 2-week holiday to Florida with 4 of us, we do want checked in baggage. We couldn't handle just taking cabin baggage. So with our Lufthansa flights, when we added on that baggage, it turned out the flights weren't that cheap for us after all. So that's just another thing to think about when you're booking flights. And also in terms of seating, ideally, I think everyone would like that little bit extra leg room. My husband is over 6 foot, so it's quite uncomfortable being squeezed, cramped up for that whole 9-hour flight. We looked at having the first row in economy. So it's that row where you've got that little bit extra leg room. You don't have a TV right in front of you, but I think some airlines have little TVs folding out of the armrest. So we looked at doing that, but it worked out, I think, around £300 extra. So if that's something that you definitely want to do, then it's need to take that into consideration when you're looking at price. Okay, so COVID and travel rules. Obviously things change all the time. At the moment it is June 2022 and thankfully, touch wood, travel restrictions have started to ease. UK travellers were allowed back into America in November 2021. When we booked this holiday, which was around September, October 2021, there were still lots of restrictions. For example, you still had to do a COVID test around 24 hours before you flew. You still had to wear masks through the airports and on the plane, and children had to wear masks on planes to America as well. So that mask restriction has recently eased, which is really good news because I don't think we could get our 2-year-old to wear a mask for any length of time, let alone 9 hours. So that's good news, and we don't have to do a COVID test before we travel either. Something that you will need to sort out before you fly is your visa. So when you're flying to the US, you'll need something called an ESTA, which is a travel visa, and that's around about $20 each. So try and sort that out in really good time before you travel, and that's also something you'll need to add to your budget. Okay, the exciting stuff, accommodation. You've got quite a few options when you're going to Orlando in terms of accommodation. You've got Disney hotels, so staying on Disney property. You've got Disney partner hotels, and you've also got independent self-catering options. So the benefits of staying in a Disney hotel is that you get those extra magic hours. You're allowed into the parks earlier than everyone else, and you can stay a little bit later too. It used to be a really good deal staying in Disney property because they had the Disney dining plan where you get so much food and drink every day included, which was amazing. Unfortunately, Disney aren't doing the dining plan anymore. We would have still liked to stay at a Disney hotel, but for us we chose a self-catering villa, and there are a few reasons why we did this. So when our children travel, there will be 3 and 5. And sleeping in a hotel room with a 3 and 5-year-old is doable. They will sleep, but it's not ideal. So what we like to do on holiday is just put the kids to sleep, put them to bed, and then have our own little bit of downtime to watch TV or something. So we are going to stay in self-catering. It does save us a little bit of money as well. Disney hotels are really expensive. We also have the option of Disney partner hotels. So it's not a Disney hotel, but you do get the benefit of free transport into the parks. And I think some of the hotels do Disney character dining experiences as well. But a villa seemed like the best option for us. We'd have our own pool, so we could relax by the pool if our youngest still wanted a little nap in the afternoon, and we could also save some money on cooking a few meals at home. Not that I want to do too much cooking while we're on holiday. Okay, so park tickets. We have decided that this year we're not going to do Universal, we're only going to stick with Disney. So that's not to say that we're going to go to a Disney park every single day of our 2-week holiday, because we will need our downtime. We might want to do other things, which I'll come on to some other things to do outside of Disney. But there is a long-term offer on for UK travellers, I think it is, where you get 14 days Disney tickets for the price of 7. So we booked our Disney tickets direct from Walt Disney Travel Company. You can also book them through companies such as attraction tickets direct, and there's a few others as well, but they'll all be around a similar price. Okay, we've also booked a hire car, so that's something that you will obviously need if you're staying in a villa. If you're staying in Disney property, then they have their own transport into the parks, which is free. They have the Disney buses, there's also the monorail, and there's a Skyliner now as well, which goes to about 3 or 4 hotels. So the car turned out to be, I think it was around £800, which was a little bit more than we were hoping for. And we will also need to pay for parking at the Disney parks. So that's something you need to add to your budget as well. I believe parking is around about $20 per day. Okay, some things that we've been thinking about because we're travelling with small children. So we don't usually use a pram at home, and definitely not a double pram. Our oldest son is 5 now, so we got rid of our double pram a couple of years ago. But because we're going to be walking so much, I've heard of people saying that they do 20,000 steps a day in Disney parks, and our youngest still likes a little nap in the afternoon. We don't want any whining, so we're going to get a double pram. They can sit in it, eat ice creams, have cold drinks. We're going to attach little fans to the pram, and they'll just be set up in there with their own personal aircon. So although it'll be a little bit hard work for us pushing the pram in the heat, hopefully in the long run everyone will be happy. So talking about rides, I've made some lists in my little planning book of all the rides that we really want to ride in Magic Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, Animal Kingdom and Epcot, the 4 Disney parks. And I've also put on there the height restrictions. So a really good tip is to measure your kids before you go, so you can manage expectations and know exactly which rides they can and can't ride. If maybe they're a few centimetres off, maybe get them some shoes with a slightly bigger sole. Okay, so when you book your Disney park tickets, you'll also need to book a park pass for a specific park on a specific day. So as soon as we booked our tickets, we decided which parks we wanted to go to on which day. And the reason I think Disney do this is to manage numbers in the parks, so they don't have too many people in one park. So for example, on the 23rd, we're going to Magic Kingdom, the day after Hollywood Studios, etc. So at Disney at the moment, there is a new system called Genie Plus, which allows you to pay a little bit extra per day. I think it's around £16 a day, although because we bought Genie Plus as part of our ticket package, it was less, so maybe $10 per person per day, around that. But you don't have to buy it for every day. So basically the Genie Plus system is where you can go onto your My Disney Experience app in the morning and you can book to ride a specific ride at a specific time. So for example, if I went on the app at 7 o'clock in the morning, I could book to go on Haunted Mansion in the Magic Kingdom at 9 o'clock and we wouldn't need to queue. So I will do another video when we get back about how this worked for us. But we thought it was the best option with small children who get really impatient and probably won't want to queue for that long. So we're hoping to do as many rides as we can. Obviously there'll be some big roller coasters that our kids just aren't big enough to go on yet, but that's absolutely fine. There's plenty of smaller rides for us all to enjoy together. Just to let you know, Disney also run a system called Parent Swap. So if you are with young children and you still want to ride the big rides, so for example there might be some rides that our eldest son can ride but our daughter can't. So we could queue up with our son, say my husband and Hugo ride a ride, and then you get one parent swap. So then my husband could swap with me and I could go straight on the ride again with Hugo without having to queue up again, which is great because we both get to ride it. Hugo gets to go on it twice and everyone's happy. So one of the things we're really looking forward to at Disney is eating all the food, all the snacks, all the ice cream. So there's two different types of restaurants, I believe. There's a quick service restaurant where you just go in, it's kind of like fast food style, take it to your own table. And then there's sit down table service restaurants that you need to book. And some of these get booked up really quick. So 60 days before you go, that's when you can make your advanced dining reservations or ADRs. So we've got a little list going of the places that we'd really like to eat in each park. Not saying we'll go to all of these, but these are on our wish list. So for example, we really want to do a character meal where the Disney characters come to the table and you can get photographs and do autographs, because the kids will absolutely love that. So there's a few different options. There's like Garden Grill in Epcot where you can do that, or Tusker House in Animal Kingdom, and then there's Chef Mickey's at the Contemporary Resort, but loads of different options. So in a couple of days, I think it's later this week actually, we'll be 60 days out, so I can start making our dining reservations on the Disney website then, which is really exciting. And then I also wanted to touch on some non-Disney things to do. So obviously a full day in a theme park is going to be really tiring, especially for young children. So we're just managing our expectations. Some days we might go quite early in the morning when it's cooler and maybe only stay till lunchtime when everyone starts getting a little bit too hot and tired, and then come back to the villa, maybe have a pool afternoon. And we've also planned in some rest days. Some days we'll want to do something completely different, so we've got on the list here that we might go to Gatorland, which is a park with lots of alligators, and you can see alligators being fed, things like that. We might go to SeaWorld, we're undecided. Obviously there's lots of good shopping in America, so we might go to the Florida Mall and just have a wander around there, which will be a nice little afternoon in the aircon. My husband really wants to go to the Kennedy Space Center, so if you go onto their website you can see if they've got any rocket launches planned for while you're there, and I think there is a SpaceX launch that we might go and check out. And then there's some beaches nearby as well. So about an hour away from Orlando on the East Coast, you've got Daytona and Cocoa Beach. And then about an hour and a half in the other direction, so on the West Coast, Gulf of Mexico, and you've got Clearwater and St. Petersburg, which are really nice beaches. So we'll probably do that one day. And then there's also things to do like go on airboat rides, you can go and swim with manatees, which sounds amazing. We probably won't do this year, but maybe in a couple of years' time. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, please give it a like, thumbs up, and subscribe. Next week I will be uploading a video all about what we're planning to pack in our travel bags, so what will keep young children entertained on a plane for 9 hours. So see you then. Bye.